Day one of our Mediterranean cruise kicked off in historic Athens, Greece. We landed early and headed straight into the heart of the city to explore the Acropolis Museum, home to centuries of ancient art and incredible views of the Parthenon. After soaking in the culture, it was time to board the brand new Sun Princess, our floating home for the next few days. The ship set sail just as the sun dipped over the Aegean Sea, officially marking the start of our journey across the Mediterranean. First, we'll review a few highlights and get into some of the excursions we took and share more about what made this trip so special.
Welcome back to What's Your Skincare Routine with LeAura Luciano. I'm your host, LeAura, and today we're stepping a little bit outside of the skincare realm to talk about travel and specifically an adventure that I had with our very special guest, Layla Luciano, my sister. And actually, she's a returning guest. She's been on the podcast before. So, everybody, welcome Layla. Thank you so much for being here, Layla.
Yay!
So I feel like we spent a lot of time together. We were invited to take a cruise throughout the Mediterranean on the Sun Princess. And it was actually not only was it your first time on a cruise, but it was your first time in Europe, right?
Yeah, first time in Europe and first cruise experience, and the best way to see
Yeah, I
Europe.
really agree. I mean, I'm very particular about cruises. I've done 3 so far. 2 of them were with Princess. Your first cruise, first impressions of the Sun Princess for you?
I feel spoiled because the Sun Princess is beautiful and it's humongous. People on
Yeah.
the ship, over 4,000, they said. When you're actually on the ship, it doesn't feel like there's 4,000 people because it's so huge. Just walking up to it.
I know we have a lot going on because we have a pretty full itinerary. The window for boarding can vary for guests, so I know that's something that's subject to change, but we got on pretty early in the day so that we had sort of the day in port but on ship and got to kind of explore the ship that way. All of the, amenities available and enjoy the room and, then we got into kind of checking out some of the dining. We had a nice group dinner the first night and we did get some great vegan options. And then the next day was a full sea day. So that's when we really felt like, okay, we're here, we're checked in. Maybe we're getting over jet lag, probably not. But yeah, I think we had a good go of it. Were there any highlights for you at our sea day?
I got to use the gym. Pro tip, don't go hard on that first sea day because you will be sore for 3 days after, which I did. Don't do a light, don't do it. Yeah. I was really excited. The gym had the windows were open, so you saw the sea, like to work out, just see the sea.
We were super jet lagged and coming off of it. It's nice to have a day at sea sometimes, not too many, because you want to get off the ship and experience those ports. The first stop was in Montenegro. We didn't have a set itinerary for this. We were supposed to disembark in Kotor, and we were not able to get into that port. So we ended up in Starry Bar in Bar Montenegro. Layla, what did you think?
I thought it was a very cute town. Got a little lost in the beginning. We went hiking up the mountain, but when we got to Old Town,
I was really impressed when it came to food. We stopped at this one particular place because they said that they do have vegetarian and vegan options, and they did, but we weren't really super hungry, we just kind of wanted a light bite, but I will say, maybe you felt like you were lost, but I knew I had service because we both definitely got our service plan with an eSIM card each. We were just kind of exploring, and that was where we started our TikTok/Instagram transition story. So we were really location scouting for places. So I wouldn't say we were lost as much as we were exploring.
yeah,
We went to this fortress and it was just we were at the entrance, but it hadn't opened just yet. But then when it did, we kind of decided against it because it was a thing where they only took cash. And I don't think either of us had cash at that moment. So we just decided let's walk around.
yeah.
However, all the little shops in Old Town, which was basically, I don't know, would you say a mile, half a mile long of shops. So restaurants, like
Maybe,
little
yeah.
shops, was not really yet open. So we were just kind of hanging out and walking around and trying not to be on anyone's private property, but also waving to people going about their day. It was very quiet, very sunny already, very warm. And we were working on our TikTok transition moment. And once we got it, we continued on. We had a light bite, and then pretty much from there back to the ship, right? Yeah, I know we didn't have an
Yes.
excursion set for that day, but I know we were also supposed to be in a completely different port. And these things happen on cruises. Last minute changes do happen for a variety of reasons. Sometimes
Mhm.
you have an understanding and insight into them, and sometimes you don't. And in this case, perfectly fine because we did have a lunch at Teppanyaki, which is really the culinary showcase. It's sort of like a performance while you dine. So I love this experience. I thought it was so fun. I know this is one of the specialty restaurants and it was a tough ticket to get because I believe it's one of the newer ones. But I thought it was so fun and they were great about dietary concerns and restrictions, so they were very mindful. Things like making a rice dish that would normally call for, like, fried eggs, but they were able to make it vegan and do that completely separate while the grill or the surface was clean. So that was really refreshing, and, of course, they do a show, and they're singing, and it's silly and fun and kind of loud, but it's a fun performance, and the food is delicious and just keeps on coming. What did you think?
I thought it was really fun. Like, you could not be engaged. Like, keep you and every single person was engaged. Silly, like it was just a really you definitely have to experience it.
Any of these experiences. They're
Oh,
cooking
yeah.
for the whole group, and there's so much food. So, you're not gonna go hungry at this one, and you had live entertainment, and I don't wanna spoil anything, or give anything away, but really good rice-based dishes, but also there were
Yeah.
some specialty vegan things that they made for us from the kitchen beforehand, but also made right in front of us as well. So lots of fun. Highly recommend that. It's like a high energy dining experience. A lot of laughs, lots of
Yeah.
fun.
With
Yeah,
a
so
lot of
that was
laughs.
that was our experience. Yeah, we do have to go back a day because we did start out at dinner, our first at sea day, not our first night, because dinner at Horizons on our first night and as part of a larger group. And then on the first sea day, we had dinner at Sabatini's, which is this incredible Italian dining experience. And it was so lovely. I love the decor in these restaurants on the ship. And I think it's so fun to see how they're able to kind of make each room a special experience and each restaurant is so different. And Sabatini's, of course, an Italian restaurant, and I believe they are available on other Princess ships. So it's definitely one that may be familiar if you are a repeat cruiser. But I thought the food was just absolutely delicious. What did you think?
Was delicious, and they had a pasta that I wanted they made sure it was vegan, and they even added a little bit extra vegetables or something like that. So they really made sure that I was taken care of.
They're really good at making those accommodations and making sure that you have a great dining experience. So I'm just looking at the photos of our food. That's why I'm like slightly like watering at the mouth. Sabatini's was one of our specialty dining experiences. That was on our first night at sea, and then able to do an incredible group lunch at Teppanyaki. While we had all this fabulous dining, we also had the chance to experience the buffet, of course, and we were doing that for breakfast on most days for a variety of reasons. Mostly convenience. Horizons does also offer a more formal dining experience,
Yeah.
but I think for us and for all the options that were available, it was just sort of easier. And especially since it opened a little bit earlier than some of the restaurants, we were able to get something to eat before we had to make our excursions. So I think that was super helpful. But while we're at sea, we are on the move, and our next port of call was Corfu, Greece. So we went Athens to Montenegro, and now we're back in Greece. Next time, we'll share any highlights or anything that stands out from our time there. So I want to thank you for joining us today, Layla. Thank you so much for traveling the world with me. We have more to talk about, more trips that we have under our belt that we need to share. We'll say goodbye for now. See you soon.